One Zambia, one nation. To present the news, I'm Patricia Ellis. Our sign language interpreter is Isabel Banda. A look at the top stories in the news. President Edgar Lungu says provision of decent housing for the poor and vulnerable members of society remains a priority. Higher Education Minister Brian Mushimba says the Copperbelt University will reopen on August 19, 2019. Police in Southern Province have concluded investigations in a matter in which a man believed to be between 25 and 30 years old was arrested for cutting down an electricity pole line. And Ministry of Labour and Social Security has suspended rehabilitation works at a shopping mall around Woodland Stadium in Lusaka. Thank you so much for joining us, and now the news in detail. President Edgar Lungu says provision of decent housing for the poor and vulnerable members of society remains a priority. President Lungu said this when he officiated at the launch of the ZNBC Zambia Buy a Brick campaign in Chibombo district. Sharon Kunda reports.
One brick at a time in a quest to provide decent housing for all. Zambia is said to have a housing deficit of 1.5 million. President Edgar Lungu says inadequate and affordable housing are among the challenges that the country must overcome. The president said this when he officiated at the ZNBC Zambia Buy a Brick campaign in Chibombo district of Central Province.
We are open to partner with all stakeholders, including the civil society and the private sector, to ensure this objective is achieved. All well-meaning Zambians deserve to support the ZNBC Buy a Brick campaign. It is my sincere hope that all citizens across our country will fully support this initiative when launched in their respective districts, villages, or residents, so that together we can help our fellow Zambians to have access to a decent house.
ZNBC Zambia Chief Executive Officer Leina Gabarani says the bank will commit significant funds to the project annually to be used for the construction of homes for deserving Zambians.
What might seem like just a brick is not just a brick, and that's what we are trying to emphasize.
And People's Process for Housing and Poverty in Zambia initiative feels the onus of alleviating inadequate housing does not lie with government alone.
The disadvantaged homeless people like those residing in informal settlements should organize themselves through saving schemes so as to partner with government in eradicating homelessness.
Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, Vincent Mwale, explains measures government is taking to address the housing challenge.
In order to create and strengthen the enabling environment for provision of decent housing for all, my ministry has finalized the review of the 1996 National Housing Policy with emphasis on the need for community and private sector engagement in housing development.
Chieftainess Mungule of the Lenje people of Chibombo district, in a speech read for her by Chief Chamuka of Chisamba, expressed happiness that the call for improved housing units in rural areas has been responded to. Sharon Kunda, ZNBC News, Chibombo.
The opposition UPND has retained the Katuba parliamentary seat in a by-election held yesterday. This was after UPND's Aubrey Kapalasa polled 8,727 votes against his closest rival, Zax Machilele of the PF, who got 7,024 votes. UPPZ candidate Bertha Mungeya was third as she polled 193 votes. Returning officer Felix Banda declared Mr. Kapalasa as duly elected member of parliament for Katuba at around 04:35 hours. Speaking after he was declared winner, Mr. Kapalasa thanked the people of Katuba for the votes. And UPND campaign manager for the Katuba by-election, Cornelius Mwitwa, thanked the Zambia Police Service for being professional throughout the campaigns. He also thanked the PF for running a violent-free election.
I therefore declare that the said Kapalasa Bampi to be this day duly elected as Member of Parliament for Katuba constituency. Date this 31st day of July 2019.
Allow me also to take this opportunity to exceptionally commend Zambia Police for a splendid professional exhibition of great work ethic. Their conduct in this particular election is near unprecedented.
And the PF has scooped all the local government by-elections in Kaoma district. Zanis reports that the elections were held in Mangango, Chitwa and Kanavilumbu, which fell vacant after the resignation of UPND councillors. In Mangango, PF candidate NLS Nyirenda emerged victorious after polling 840 votes, beating her closest rival, UPND candidate Mishek Mundandwe, who polled 390 votes. In Chitwa, returning officer Inambao Mutata declared PF's Hamulondo Hampande as duly elected councillor after polling 914 votes against UPND's Libinga Talzeni, who got 745 votes. In Kanavilumbu ward, PF candidate Mwezala Munyika scooped the seat after getting 615 votes and beating UPND candidate Mishek Mundandwe, who got 388 votes. The PF has also retained the Mayembe's ward seat in Shiwangandu district in Muchinga province. PF candidate Joseph Nsofwa polled 610 votes, while his rival Cynthia Mwamba from the UPND polled 71 votes. And the ruling party has retained the Luwa ward seat in Ketwe. PF's Julius Kaunda polled 1,215 votes, beating his rival Brian Mwewa of the UPND, who polled 510 votes.
I therefore declare that the said Kaunda Julius to be this day duly elected as a member of the Kitwe Council for Luwa Ward.
So going forward, we'll just continue on the programs that he has laid, and also what we'll be discussing with the community. There are a lot of challenges where we need to sit with the people in the community and see what is the best way forward.
We don't have luxury of time. We need to go back to the people, thank them, and work to an extent that whatever we promised, we need to deliver before 2021.
President Edgar Lungu has congratulated the opposition UPND and its candidate Aubrey Kapalasa for retaining the Katuba parliamentary seat. President Lungu has also congratulated the ruling PF for winning all the ward by-elections. He says winning Luwa, Luingishi, Kana Wulimbu and Mangango wards shows that the PF is strong on the ground. President Lungu also says the performance of the PF in Katuba is testimony that the party is gaining momentum in the area and expects better in 2021. Meanwhile, President Lungu has condemned the acts of violence on election night, which resulted in the attack of 2 Zambia Daily Mail journalists by cadres on Great North Road. He says criminals masquerading as cadres have no place in Zambia's democratic dispensation. This is according to a statement issued to ZNBC News by Special Assistant to the President for Press and Public Relations, Isaac Chipampe. Meanwhile, Chief Government Spokesperson Dora Selia has condemned attacks on Zambia Daily Mail journalists in Katuba during the parliamentary by-election. Ms. Selia says her ministry is saddened because journalists are key stakeholders in the development process. She has since appealed to political parties to consider journalists as key allies who are only trying to inform the masses.
We've always said that when there's an election, we want the media, all media personnel, private and from public institutions, to operate freely, because that is your job. You are there to operate freely. And when your lives are threatened, whether you work for the Mast or Diggers or Daily Mail or ZNBC or Diamond, we at this ministry are very, very concerned. And we are appealing to political players, to the public, that they must view you, the media personnel, as people who are there to do a very specific job on behalf of the people of Zambia. So we're extremely disappointed.
And Ms. Leah said it is unfortunate that some people are busy accusing President Edgar Lungu of being tribal and not liking the people of Southern Province, yet it has the highest number of developmental projects. And the PF has expressed happiness with the election results of the just ended Katuba parliamentary and local government by-elections held across the country. PF Secretary General Davis Mwila says the results are a full expression of confidence people have in the PF government. Speaking during a media briefing in Lusaka today, Mr. Mwila said the party is quickly gaining ground in opposition strongholds such as Western, Southern and Northwestern provinces.
May I also take this opportunity to commend our head of state for upholding exceptionally high moral values and strength of character. We wish to remind you that our national unity is much more important than our political differences. We need to pursue the path of issue-based peaceful coexistence beyond elections, without regionalism, fake news, sensationalism, and insults. The Lubu Award results in Kitwe reaffirm the fact that PF continues to be the party of choice on the Copper Belt.
And UPND Secretary General Stephen Katuka has thanked the people of Katuba for showing confidence in the party by voting for its candidate. Speaking to ZNBC News in a telephone interview, Mr. Katuka said he is happy that the party has retained the seat. He thanked the PF and the UPPZ for conducting campaigns that were free of violence. Mr. Katuka, however, expressed sadness with the attack on journalists. Government will reopen the Cobalt University CBU on August 19, 2019. Higher Education Minister Brian Mushimba says government has decided to open CBU after consultations with stakeholders and hearing concerns of the people. Dr. Mushimba has also announced that all students will be surcharged for damages caused to public and private property. He has further revealed that suspensions for all students have been lifted with condition that their surcharge will be higher than other students, while those expelled have been brought in onto suspension pending reinstatement in school. Addressing journalists in Lusaka today, Dr. Mushimba, however, cautioned students to refrain from engaging in violent acts when aggrieved.
So we had to make sure that we speak to many of the contributory factors that led to the closure, and until we were comfortable that those matters were addressed, government was not going to reopen this institution. We are comfortable now that those matters have been addressed. And building on that, certainly there were additional concerns that drove this process to arrive at reopening the institution in 3 weeks' time. One of them being the ranking of our institution is something that we value. And when an institution is closed for an extended period of time, like CBU has been, we start risking the ranking being relooked at.
You're watching the news, the main news. We now go for a commercial break, but do stay tuned. We'll continue with the news. Police in Southern Province have concluded investigations in a matter in which a man believed to be between 25 and 30 years old was arrested for cutting down an electricity pole line in Choma's Mbabala constituency. Southern Province Police Commissioner Diamond Likashi has told ZNBC News that investigations have revealed that the suspect, Musho Chiala of Masochist village, acted alone. Mark Ziligone reports.
According to police investigations, Chiala acted alone and has since been charged with an offense of espionage, contrary to the laws of Zambia.
One person has been apprehended, Meo Musho Chiala, aged between 25 and 30 years, of Masochist village, Chief Mapanza's area, Choma. So far, our investigations have revealed that he acted alone, and he has been charged, be arrested for an offense of espionage, contrary to Section 3D of the State Security Act, Cap 111 of the laws of Zambia.
Residents of Mbabala have condemned Chiala's actions and are appealing to President Edgar Lungu not to be discouraged but continue with his development agenda. Dixon Jiwela is headman Dubega, and he is among many Zambians who are dismayed with the cutting of the poor line.
Jagabi jamaningi ibuyo aya murimbo akachitamwa noyu ndiro mbabo ba president besu ba Chagwarungu ba Edgar Chagwarungu batugwahiri hebuyo batatiompipe.
Youths in the province are also urging the head of state to continue with his development agenda despite this setback.
Ngataromba ruregerero ba umwana ori ya kutamwene kuri chaka munjira bobwe kabota nabideja muntu mwana bobwe uri pengera bombo munyabwe.
Chiala is currently in police custody and will soon appear before the courts of law. Mark Zilgone, ZNBC News, Choma.
And members of the clergy have joined cause in condemning the sabotage of electricity poles. The Independent Churches of Zambia, ICOS, and the Bishops' Council of Zambia have told ZNBC News in separate interviews that the church is disappointed with the act. ICOS General Secretary Bishop David Masupa says the act is barbaric and retrogressive. And Bishops' Council of Zambia General Secretary Bishop Abel Kayala described the act to cut the power pole as wicked. First Lady Esther Lungu has advised young girls in the country to resist peer pressure and friends who may influence them into drug abuse and engaging in premarital sexual activities. Mrs. Lungu said this in Lusaka today when she addressed over 600 majorettes at a Girls and Youth Forum under the theme Embracing Industrial Development. Zanish reports.
Esther Lungu has continued with her mentorship programs aimed at inspiring positive behavior among the girl child and the youths in the country. Mrs. Lungu today interacted with over 600 girls from the majorettes drawn from different schools around Lusaka and urged them to think and act positively if they are to inspire and succeed in life.
The power rests in you. You have the power to say no where the answer is supposed to be no. And mostly the answer that should be in your vocabulary should be no other than yes.
The Shaw Society, who are the organizers of the event, thanked First Lady for her commitment towards improving the lives of vulnerable people.
Commend you, Madam First Lady, for the vivid efforts you are making in helping our vulnerable communities by giving them hope of life and uplifting their standards.
And boxing icon Catherine Piri also has an advice to give to the girls.
We can do it without depending on anyone, without aiming for marriages. Let's succeed in our lives.
Such kind of interactions are vital in encouraging girls to be responsible citizens and contribute positively to national development. Michelo Lubinda, Zanis News in Lusaka.
We go for another commercial break, and when we come back, we have business news. Do stay tuned.
Moeko Resources, the owners of Mbula copper mine, is set to create 1,000 jobs in Chingola through a $160 million investment. Moeco Resources Chief Executive Officer Alan Davis says the investment includes $40 million for the construction stage set for this year and $120 million by next year. Mr. Davis is optimistic that the operations at Mimbola will commence this year, as his company has engaged Konkola Copper Mines liquidator over some outstanding issues. He said the mine will create about 1,000 jobs at construction stage and over 800 full-time jobs. And Mr. Davis told ZNBC News that Moeco Resources has engaged government on its Kalengwa copper mine in northwestern province, which is also earmarked to commence operations this year.
So with Mimbula, we've done a lot of work there, we've spent a lot of money, and we're just finalising issues we've got in terms of getting on the ground. We've got a large-scale mining licence issued by the government, and we're finalising some issues. And as soon as that's done, we'll get the environmental permits. We're ready to start construction. So that'll employ 1,000 people sort of pretty much straight away, and we'll have permanent employees of 600 to 800, heading to about 15,000 tonnes of copper. And we've got an expansion following through with that too. So we're ready to employ, and I know Chingola.
A University of Zambia Unza School of Engineering lecturer and researcher has developed a machine that generates fuel from polymer wastes such as discarded tires, plastics and rubber. Brian Marley has details in this report.
A major industrial innovation which has come to fruition in a garage. This is the case for the polyfuel, a machine designed to produce fuel from polymer waste such as old tires, rubber and plastic. University of Zambia Unza School of Engineering lecturer and researcher Samsi Chilalu is the brains behind this innovation, running at 70% capacity and producing 700 milliliters of crude from 1 kilogram of plastics and methane as a byproduct.
From the kiln there, we have a reaction. There's no burning. You will never see any smoke, the way it is closed, the way it is. Then it comes here into a condenser, where the only product you are going to see is petroleum dropping there. And our byproduct is methane gas that can also be used for cooking.
At present, the crude, a combination of petrol, diesel and kerosene, can be used in industrial plants and power diesel machines without any adjustments. Dr. Sichilalu feels this is key in reducing fuel prices while maintaining a cleaning environment and creating jobs for waste pickers.
This petroleum is the same grade like fossil fuel, which is coming from Saudi Arabia, Middle East. When we get it as it's still in hydrocarbon mixture, like it's a combination of petrol, diesel and paraffin.
He notes that researchers at UNZA have done their part and now need a $350,000 injection to commercialize their innovation to a 2-ton daily production capacity.
We want partners to come on board to upscale this, to make it a big plant.
With Zambia Agriculture and Commercial Show opening this week, Dr. Sichilalu has conducted the final check before fairing his machine for exhibition. Brian Moale, ZNBC News, Lusaka.
Finally, on our business segment, the Presidential Empowerment Initiative Fund has donated bags of cement, millimil and egg incubators worth 220,000 kwacha to various women groups and churches in Masansa, Mukushi district. Wilson Melinda gives us details in this report.
They are the latest to benefit from the Empowerment Initiative. These are various women groups and churches from Masansa in Mukoshi who gathered to receive their empowerment packages. The Presidential Empowerment Initiative Fund handed over bags of cement, millimil and egg incubators worth 220,000 kwacha to the beneficiaries here. National Coordinator Clement Tembo disclosed that the gesture is as a result of love from President Edgar Lungu.
Is that we have identified people that are seemingly vulnerable and we have ensured that we give them this relief food for starters. It's very important that people are fed. After being fed, that's when we can empower them. How do you empower somebody without food on their stomach? So we've given out some relief maize, some relief millimil, and we want to ensure that these people are satisfied and then they get to do work.
Samuel Luneta is the fund manager.
So today we are in Mukushi and we are headed for Petauke. We are going flat out across Zambia. We want everyone to benefit.
And Mukushi North Member of Parliament Doreen Mwape had words of advice for the beneficiaries.
So ukufuma apa pele na papata sana mumone ba irini mwe bashirembeshe na mwe kuntaishi tepo ni incubator yenka tepo tuvunga twenka kulaba na fimbi fichirire pwapo ife fikuomoneka kwati ni ng'ombe nembushi na fimwe mwefe mungalabila.
The beneficiaries were also elated with the gesture.
We truly appreciate for what he's doing to us as youths. He has empowered us, he has removed us from poverty.
Tuletotera sana pamonga ba masansa ifi evyo tufiro ukuba.
The Presidential Empowerment Initiative Fund is expected to visit Petauke in Eastern Province for the same purpose. Wilson Mulinda, ZNBC News, Mukoshi.
Well, that's all we had for you on our business segment. Thank you so much for watching.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Security has suspended rehabilitation works at a shopping mall in Lusaka's Woodlands area where one person died. Permanent Secretary Barnaby Mlenga has announced the development, saying the notice of suspension of works will only be lifted once the contractor has satisfactorily implemented the recommendations that will arise from the accident investigation report. Mr. Mlenga has assured Zambians that the government prioritizes the safety and health of workers and that the matter is receiving attention. The Permanent Secretary has said in a statement released by Ministry of Labour Public Relations Officer Inutu Mushambatwa that the move is necessary to avoid work-related accidents that have potential to cause injuries, fatalities and damage to property. That's all the construction news we had for you. Thank you so much for watching. We go for our last commercial break and thereafter we'll come back with the rest of the news. That ends the news. Thank you so much for watching.